Hello students, today's topic is mode of nutrition in organisms. There are basic two ways in which an organism obtain their food. One is autotrophic and the other is heterotrophic. The basic difference between the two is, first let's understand the simple and basic difference, that is, first is auto means self. This means that the organism makes their own food. Then we have hetero, that means an organism is dependent on the other organism for their food and nutrition needs. Now let's start with the autotrophic nutrition. This kind of nutrition is usually seen in plants, certain bacteria, and algae. Algae are of different kinds and they vary in colors. Some may be blue, some may be red, and so on and so forth. The algae which are green in color, like we can see in this picture, are the ones which can make their own food. Now let's understand what an algae is. You must have seen that wherever there is a little wetness in some of, like in stones near the rivers, or maybe on the wood or some place which is abandoned for a long time and has a little moisture, you will find that these kind of green small plants grow on them. These are slippery in nature and usually the green algae which is present will make its own food. And the major part of it is the autotrophic nutrition is done or is seen in plants and the food that is made, because like I have already told that autotrophic nutrition is making the organism which makes their own food. So the food which is made and is utilized by organisms, that is the same organism or the organism which is dependent on the plant, is done in the leaf, because leaf has a certain pigment which has the capability of capturing the light energy from the sun and converting it into chemical energy. Now this chemical energy is utilized as food or any other material. Now the leaf is the food factory of a plant, because obviously, like I have told, that this leaf is the only thing in the environment which can capture the light and convert it into chemical energy. In the leaf the food is made and the plant utilizes this food for their growth, for different other functions that they perform for their survival, and whatever is left they store it in the roots, in stem, in fruits, etc. And these are the things which we eat for our survival and other animals eat as well. Now this is autotrophic nutrition, and because the plant make their own food, they are known as producers. Next we have the heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic means when an organism is dependent on the plant or other organisms. Now first let's understand that whenever we are talking about heterotrophic nutrition, either the organism is directly dependent on the plant or indirectly dependent on the plant. How so? Because let's say we have grass which is eaten by a goat, and humans, as we all know, eat the flesh or the meat of the goat, so which is eaten again by the human. Now if you see that if there was no grass, we won't have goat, and thus we are indirectly dependent on the grass, and goat being the middle part. So in this way we are indirectly dependent on the plants and goat is directly dependent on the plants, and this is the mode of nutrition which we call as heterotrophic nutrition. Now all animals are heterotrophic in nature and few plants are heterotrophic in nature. We will discuss about this phenomena a little more in detail And what are the different classifications that we have? First, let's start by photosynthesis. Now, photosynthesis is the part of autotrophic nutrition. That means with the help of photosynthesis, a plant makes their own food. Now, this is divided into two parts. One is photo and other is synthesis. Now, photo means light and synthesis means to make. So, what does this word implies? This implies that the food that is made using the light by the plants with the help of their leaves. Let's understand the definition of this. Photosynthesis is a process in which chlorophyll containing green plants in the presence of sunlight uses carbon dioxide and water to synthesize their food. So, that means for a photosynthesis to occur in a plant, what are the important components? One is the chlorophyll, which is a pigment which helps a plant and provides green color. Then obviously the chlorophyll is important to capture the sunlight and carbon dioxide is important for a plant to conduct this photosynthesis. Then they use water with the help of roots. We will discuss about all these components in detail. And this, with the help of all these elements, a plant can make their food. In a symbolic way or with the help of an equation, we can describe photosynthesis in this way. That is, carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of light energy and chlorophyll gives us glucose, oxygen and water in the form of vapors. Now, we all know that glucose is a type of carbohydrate. This is a simple carbohydrate and the plant utilizes this carbohydrate for their own use, but for the storage purpose they convert it in the form of a starch. Now, this starch is a compound carbohydrate, that is a complex carbohydrate, right? And this is what we find in leaves and other parts of the plant. And then we get oxygen from the green plants. We all know that today, nowadays, we have fewer plants left in our environment in comparison to the beginning of the world or since we have started this kind of development. But you must have seen a drive around you to plant more and more plants so that we can get appropriate amount of glucose and oxygen. Apart from that, plants also emit water vapors. That means with the help of the process known as transpiration, which is the removal or the process in which the water vapor comes out of the leaf. It is very small amount and cannot be seen with naked eyes, but the presence of water vapors is there in this process. So, this is the process of photosynthesis. Again, let's understand this one more time, that plants which has chlorophyll as their pigment which helps them to capture sunlight and they use carbon dioxide and water to produce their food. This food is made in the form of glucose, that is a simple carbohydrate, and is stored in the form of starch, that is a complex carbohydrate. And this is why a plant is known as a producer. To remember, the things that we have is that chlorophyll is a very important part of the plant capturing of the sunlight. Thank you.